question. What did you actually do yesterday? In detail, not just nothing much.
Oh no, give me a second. My brain needs to load yesterday's file.
Take your time.
Okay, honestly, it was way more eventful than I expected it to be.
See, that's already a much better sentence than most people give.
I try my best, and that's actually today's topic, isn't it?
Exactly. How to talk about yesterday in English without just saying it was good.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Crack the Lingo.
We're talking about yesterday today, not history, just literally yesterday, and how to describe it naturally.
It's such a simple topic, but honestly, most people answer with one boring word.
Right. Someone asks, how was your day? And the answer is just good, or fine, or busy.
Exactly, and that's fine casually, but if you want to actually practice English, there's so much more you can say.
Exactly. And by the end of this episode, you'll have real phrases to describe your own yesterday with more detail and confidence.
No boring grammar lecture here, just two friends comparing yesterdays.
So get comfortable and let's get into it.
Before we start, quick favor. If you're enjoying Crack the Lingo, hit the like button.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time. New episodes every week to help your English sound more natural.
And here's today's comment question. How was your yesterday in one honest sentence?
Write your answer below in English. We genuinely read every comment.
Okay, let's actually get into yours. So why was yesterday more eventful than expected?
Honestly, I planned a quiet day, just work and maybe some cleaning. That plan lasted about 2 hours.
What happened after those 2 hours?
My sister called out of nowhere and asked if I wanted to grab lunch, so I ended up going out instead.
Ended up. That's such a useful phrase here. It means something happened even though it wasn't your original plan.
Exactly. You could say, I planned to stay home, but I ended up going out for lunch.
I love that phrase, honestly. It captures how plans just quietly change sometimes.
They really do. One small phone call and suddenly the whole day looks different.
Did the lunch turn out to be worth it, or did you regret leaving your plans behind?
Honestly, it turned out really nice. We ended up talking for almost 2 hours, way longer than either of us expected.
That's such a nice surprise. Sometimes the unplanned parts of the day end up being the best parts.
Exactly. What about you? Was your yesterday quiet, or did something unexpected happen too?
Mine was the opposite kind of eventful, honestly. It started messy and stayed messy most of the day.
That's such a contrast to mine, honestly. Quiet start turning eventful versus messy start staying messy.
Exactly. We basically had opposite yesterdays, but both ended up more eventful than the boring plan version.
Messy how exactly?
I had 3 small tasks that all seemed simple, and every single one of them dragged on way longer than expected.
Dragged on. I like that phrase. It means something took much longer than it should have.
Exactly. You could say that meeting dragged on for almost 2 hours, even though it was supposed to be short.
That's so relatable, honestly. Simple tasks that quietly eat your entire afternoon.
Exactly that. One task was supposed to take 20 minutes, and somehow it took almost 2 hours.
What was the task, if you don't mind sharing?
Just organizing some old files, but I kept getting distracted by things I'd forgotten I even had.
That happens to me constantly. You start organizing and suddenly you're reading old messages from years ago.
Exactly that. By the time I looked up, half the afternoon was gone.
Did you at least find anything interesting while you were distracted? Something worth the lost time?
Actually, yes. Some old photos I'd completely forgotten about, so it wasn't a total loss, honestly.
That's a nice silver lining. Even wasted time can accidentally turn into something worthwhile. How did you feel by the end of the day after all that?
Honestly, a bit overwhelmed. Too many small things happening, none of them huge, but together it felt like a lot.
Overwhelmed. That's such an honest word for that feeling. Too much happening at once, even if none of it is dramatic on its own.
Exactly. You could say the afternoon felt a bit overwhelming, even though nothing major actually went wrong.
I love that it's honest without sounding dramatic. Overwhelming isn't the same as disaster.
Right, it's just softer, more accurate for those in-between difficult days.
Quick challenge for everyone listening right now. Pause for a second and think of one word that actually describes your yesterday.
Not good or bad, something more specific like eventful, messy, or overwhelming.
Exactly. Then write that word in the comments. We're genuinely curious what people come up with.
Okay, back to us. Did you manage to finish your actual work despite the surprise lunch?
Barely, honestly. I managed to finish the important parts, but a few smaller tasks got pushed to today.
Managed to, that's such a strong phrase. It means you succeeded at something even though it wasn't easy.
Exactly. You could say, I managed to finish the important work even with the unplanned lunch.
I like that it sounds like a small win, not just a simple fact.
Exactly. It shows there was effort involved, not just automatic completion.
I actually used a similar phrase yesterday too, honestly. I managed to finish 2 of the 3 tasks before giving up for the day.
That's still a win, though, even if the third task waited until today.
True, I try to remind myself of that instead of only focusing on what didn't get done.
That's such a healthy mindset, honestly. 2 out of 3 tasks completed is still real progress.
Exactly. Okay, here's a question. Do you think how a day starts usually predicts how the rest of it goes?
Somewhat, yes, though yesterday actually proved the opposite for me. It started quiet and completely changed direction.
That's interesting. Mine actually started messy and just stayed messy the whole day. Honestly, no real turning point.
Do you think that's usually the pattern for you? Messy starts leading to messy days?
Mostly yes, though I try not to assume that too early anymore because sometimes a rough morning still turns into a decent day.
That's a fair point, actually. Assuming the whole day based on the first hour isn't always accurate.
Exactly. I try to give the day a chance before deciding it's ruined.
I respect that, honestly. It's easy to write off a whole day too quickly.
It really is. Okay, here's another question. Was yesterday a weekday for you or a weekend day? Does that usually change how eventful things get?
It was a weekday, actually, which made the surprise lunch feel even more unusual.
That makes sense. Weekday surprises feel bigger because you're not expecting your schedule to shift at all.
Exactly. On a weekend, an unplanned lunch feels normal, but on a weekday, it genuinely threw off my whole plan.
Mine was a weekday too, and honestly, weekdays are usually when my messy tasks pile up the most.
Why do you think that happens specifically on weekdays for you?
I think it's because weekday tasks are connected to work, so if one thing runs late, everything after it shifts too.
That's such a good point, actually. One delay on a weekday tends to create a chain reaction.
Exactly. It's like dominoes. One small task falls behind, and suddenly the whole afternoon is rearranged.
I like that image, honestly. Dominoes falling all afternoon because of one slow task.
That's basically what happened yesterday. One slow task and the rest just followed behind it.
Did anything unexpected but funny happen during all that chaos?
Actually, yes. In the middle of everything, I accidentally sent a work message to the wrong group chat.
Oh no. How bad was it?
Not terrible, thankfully, but embarrassing enough that I had to send an awkward follow-up apologizing.
That's such a classic yesterday moment, honestly. One small mistake in the middle of an already busy day.
Exactly, and somehow it became the part of the day I remember most clearly now.
Isn't that funny how the mistakes often stick in your memory more than the actual tasks?
It really is. I couldn't even tell you every task I finished, but I remember that message clearly.
I think that's true for a lot of people, honestly. The awkward moments become the story you actually tell.
Definitely. Did anything small or funny happen during your lunch yesterday?
Actually, yes. We accidentally sat at a table that was reserved, and a waiter had to politely move us halfway through ordering.
That sounds slightly embarrassing, but also kind of funny in hindsight.
It really was. We just laughed about it and moved tables. No big deal in the end.
Sometimes those small, awkward moments end up being the thing that makes a normal day memorable.
Exactly. Without that mix-up, it would have just been a nice lunch, nothing particularly memorable.
True, the mistake actually added to the story instead of ruining it. Okay, let's talk about something different now. Did you catch up on anything yesterday, or did everything stay behind?
Actually, yes. I caught up on some emails I'd been avoiding for almost a week.
Caught up on, that's such a useful phrase. It means doing something you didn't have time for earlier.
Exactly. You could say, I finally caught up on emails I'd been avoiding all week.
I love that phrase, honestly. It makes avoiding something sound almost normal instead of just lazy.
Exactly. Everyone avoids something eventually. Emails, laundry, phone calls. It's very human.
True, I actually caught up on sleep yesterday, if that counts as an accomplishment.
It absolutely counts. Catching up on rest matters just as much as catching up on tasks.
I appreciate you saying that because I definitely felt a little guilty about it at first.
No need for guilt, honestly. Rest is productive too, even if it doesn't look like it.
I needed to hear that yesterday specifically, but today works too.
Better late than never. Do you usually tell someone about your day, or do you mostly keep it to yourself?
Honestly, it depends. If something interesting happens, I usually text a friend about it later that evening.
That's such a nice habit, actually. Do you think telling someone helps you process the day better?
I think it does, yes. Saying it out loud or even typing it out makes the day feel more complete somehow.
That's such an interesting way to put it, more complete, like the day isn't fully finished until it's shared.
Exactly. Even a short message like, "You won't believe what happened today," makes the whole day feel worth mentioning.
I do something similar, honestly, usually with my sister, actually, the same one who called me yesterday.
That's a nice connection. Did you tell her about the reserved table mix-up afterward?
I did, and she found it way funnier than I expected, which honestly made the whole story better in the retelling.
That's so true. Stories often get better the second time you tell them, once you know which parts people enjoy.
Exactly. You start highlighting the funny details more and skipping the boring parts naturally.
I think that's basically what we're doing on this podcast too, honestly, retelling our yesterdays in a slightly better way.
That's a fair point. Maybe every retelling is a small edit of the original event.
Exactly, not dishonest, just naturally more polished the more you tell it.
I like that idea a lot, honestly. Practice makes even your stories a little more natural, not just your grammar.
That's such a great connection to language learning too. The more you describe your day, the more naturally it comes out.
Exactly. This is basically speaking practice disguised as a normal conversation with a friend.
I love that framing, honestly. It makes daily conversations feel more useful, not just casual small talk.
Definitely. Okay, what if yesterday was actually just boring, nothing interesting at all?
Honestly, that happens plenty too. Not every day needs to be a story.
Exactly, and you can still describe it naturally. You could say, yesterday was pretty quiet, nothing major happened.
I like that phrase, "nothing major happened." It sounds calm instead of empty.
Exactly. It doesn't apologize for being uneventful, it just states it honestly.
True, sometimes people feel like they need an exciting answer, even when the honest answer is simply quiet.
Exactly, and quiet days deserve honest descriptions too, not forced excitement.
I completely agree with that. Okay, one more question before vocabulary. When you look back on yesterday now, how do you actually feel about it?
Honestly, glad. Even with the interruption, the lunch turned out to be worth missing my original plan for.
Looking back, I feel a bit proud, actually. Despite the messy afternoon, I still managed most of what mattered.
That's such a good way to end the reflection, honestly, focusing on what actually got done.
Exactly. All right, let's move into today's vocabulary review before we wrap everything up.
We covered some really useful words and phrases today.
Our first one was ended up, meaning something happened even though it wasn't the original plan.
Example, I planned to stay home, but I ended up going out for lunch.
Next, we had eventful, meaning full of things happening, often more than expected.
Example, yesterday was more eventful than I expected.
Then we had dragged on, meaning something took much longer than it should have.
Example, that task dragged on for almost 2 hours.
We also used overwhelming, describing when too much is happening at once, even without anything major going wrong.
Example, the afternoon felt a bit overwhelming even though nothing major happened.
Next was managed to, meaning you succeeded at something even when it wasn't easy.
Example, I managed to finish the important work even with the surprise lunch.
And finally, caught up on, meaning doing something you didn't have time for earlier.
Example, I finally caught up on emails I'd been avoiding all week.
Great words today. Ended up, eventful, dragged on, overwhelming, managed to, and caught up on.
Try using at least one of these the next time someone asks how your day was.
Now let's move into a little reflection before we finish today's episode.
I really like this part. It always makes the topic feel personal.
The way we describe yesterday often shows how we actually process our own days, not just what happened in them.
That's such a good point. Someone who only says good or bad might be avoiding the actual details.
Exactly, and someone who adds detail is usually more comfortable reflecting on their own experience.
I think that connects to English learning too, honestly. The more detail you can add, the more confident you sound speaking.
Completely agree. A detailed sentence about yesterday is genuinely great speaking practice, even if it feels small.
Exactly. It's low pressure, but it builds real fluency over time.
And honestly, I think this exercise works for any day, not just yesterday. You could apply it to last week or even last year.
That's such a good point, actually. Once you have the habit of adding detail and feeling, it works for any story you tell.
Exactly. Yesterday is just the easiest place to start practicing since it's still fresh in your memory.
So here's our reflection question for you, our listener. How was your yesterday? Really, using more than just one word.
Take a moment and think about it honestly. Was it eventful, quiet, messy, or maybe just okay?
Try describing it in English, using one of today's new phrases if you can.
And if you want extra support, share your answer in the comments. We genuinely love reading them.
We really do. It helps us understand our listeners better, and it helps you practice real English at the same time.
All right, I think it's time to wrap up before we start comparing today's plans in too much detail as well.
Fair enough. Let's summarize today's episode.
We talked about how to describe yesterday naturally, whether it was busy, quiet, messy, or surprising.
And we learned some useful vocabulary. Ended up, eventful, dragged on, overwhelming, managed to, and caught up on.
We also talked about how sharing your day with someone, even in a short message, can make the whole experience feel more complete.
True, and honestly, that habit alone is great English practice, whether you're texting a friend or talking on this podcast.
Remember, you don't need a dramatic day to practice good English. Even a quiet Tuesday deserves a proper sentence.
So next time someone asks how your day was, don't just say good. Tell them what actually happened and how it felt.
That's how a simple answer becomes a real, meaningful conversation.
Thank you so much for listening today. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.
Before you go, tell us the most unexpected thing that's happened to you on an otherwise normal day.
We'll be reading the comments, and we genuinely can't wait to hear your stories.
Thanks for spending this time with us. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See you in the next episode. Bye.